Hey, what'd you think about the Suns' performance last night and the effort by Chris Paul in a clincher to go for 41 points and to push his team into the NBA Finals?
I told Chris Paul when I last seen him at the Laker game, I said, I've been playing against you for so many years, and I've been just focused on beating you. I never got a chance to really sit back and watch how good you are. I'm like, man, you're really good. I told him that this year. I didn't realize he was that good, honestly. He is so good, and I'm so happy that he had a chance that he has the chance to win the finals. I would love to see Lou Williams win, but I'm really happy for Chris.
What does a guy like Chris Paul provide in leadership inside a locker room? You hear his teammates keep talking about both on and off the floor. What are those things off the floor that you teach young kids if you've been a veteran and been around?
I mean, the guy is really unbelievable, and I don't know about him personally. I never played on his team, but I remember playing against him with the Lakers, and I remember being in a tight game in that series when we played against the Hornets, and every time he had the ball, I was always worried because you literally had to be perfect because he was going to find the open shooter, he was going to make a layup, something was going to happen really good when the ball was in his hands. You just had to be perfect, and I remember it being mentally challenging playing against him.
Metta World Peace joins us this morning here on the show talking about the NBA playoffs. Boy, injuries have played such a huge role in this year's postseason. You were tweeting about the injury to Giannis the other night. It's just so hard to see all these stars go down. Is it because of the shortened offseason last year, or something like Giannis's injury has nothing to do with what happened last summer?
Yeah, well, Giannis' injury has nothing to do with what happened. I think the ones are when you look at James Harden injury. I think if James would have came in a little bit thinner, I don't think he gets hurt. That hamstring injury is a result of many different things, mainly being out of shape. When LeBron hurt his groin that 1 year, that could have been. I mean, he's been in the finals in the Olympics. He had time after time, so he needed time off. And then this year, LeBron was doing pretty solid until he hurt his ankle. I think Anthony. I said this about Anthony Davis a long time ago. I think Anthony was looking a little heavier, and I think he needs to slim down a little bit. Even when he came to the Lakers, it wasn't the same body that he had in New Orleans. So maybe he should just really work on his body, really focus. Guys should minimize how much alcohol intake they have this summer. And when you think about it, man, the guys are getting so much money. I mean, this is one big vacation. The contract is insane, so it's definitely a time to enjoy some wine. This is unbelievable, right? So you should enjoy your life, but you should be cognizant of the alcohol intake because it takes your body longer to recover, especially if you're training hard in the summertime. So I think guys should be aware of that, especially because these last two seasons is just not normal seasons.
So do you think that's why James Harden showed up out of shape earlier this year, was because too much alcohol intake in the offseason?
I mean, I'm just saying in general, I would say I think guys should be cognizant of alcohol intake, and be aware of when you're training in the summer times, just be aware that the alcohol, it can slow down it does slow down your recovery as an athlete. That's why Floyd Mayweather is still in shape and he don't drink. So I don't know what guys are doing, but I'm just throwing some tips out there. Just be very aware that when you're training in the summertime, if you want to last throughout a whole season in the playoffs, especially with this shortened amount of time of recovery in between seasons, this is going to be another tough season. This is going to be another tough off season. This is July, and we're still in the finals, right?
How hard is that? Because when you're a celebrity, when you're an NBA player, you have lots of money to be able to go out and do whatever you want. People want to buy you drinks. They want to bring you into their club. They love the fame that comes with it. How hard is it to push yourself away from situations like that and be disciplined?
Well, I mean, that's a great question. This is another great tip, and if guys are listening, I think this is another great tip. When you're going out, it's important to have a good time. But I think you should really map it out. You should map out, okay, when am I going to have a good time? I'm going to get I'm going to go out to somewhere. I'm going to have a great time, have some drinks. And then when do I start to turn it off? Like, when do I start to recover and detox? If you're mixing alcohol and eating, greasy foods and processed foods, well, that's going to also slow down your recovery. So I think guys should be cognizant of that. But I get it. Like, when you're having a great time, what are you going to do? I remember myself, when I was having a great time, right, and playing, and what are you going to do? But it's just a tip, more than anything.
Metta World Peace joins us this morning here on the show talking about the NBA playoffs with Giannis's knee injury. It's a hyperextension, so he didn't tear an ACL, which is good, but he's probably not going to play tonight. Do you think it's wise for the Bucks to try to get him to play again in the postseason, or do you think just shut it down like Kawhi did and wait until next year?
I mean, everybody's so different. Like, I remember when I was getting hurt when I was playing, I remember I had one surgery with the Pacers on my thumb. I was supposed to be out 6 weeks. I was out 7 days, and mainly because of me. I just was not going to sit out, and then I had a meniscus tear in my knee with the Lakers. And instead of being out 6 weeks, I started running on the court in 5 days. And I remember playing against the Spurs, and I couldn't really run, but I played the 3 games, and I sat out the last game because we got swept. I remember I had heart surgery in Chicago when I was with the Pacers, and it was a 45-minute heart surgery, but I was supposed to be out, 2 days. It was a simple procedure, but I drove right back to Indiana. I got right back to the court. And everybody's different, I mean, me personally, if I'm not broke, I'm going to play. But, I never really cared about contracts. Or I never really cared about the consequences of playing injured. I was only thinking about winning. It's up to the player and the organization. I mean, it would be smarter not to play. But Anthony Davis, right? He came back in the game, and that's something I would have done. I would have did exactly what Anthony Davis did. So it's just hard. It's hard to say because I'm not in the locker room. I don't really know what these guys are thinking. But I definitely respect the Warrior, though.
You played for Phil Jackson. You won a championship with the Lakers under Phil. And earlier this week, Scottie Pippen claimed that he thought that Phil Jackson was racist. What did you think about that comment?
I thought it was really funny because I've been around Kobe and I've been around Phil, right? So I know the personalities and characteristics and the open talk in the locker room that is only for players and fun stuff happens. And when Pippen said that, I laughed, and I thought it was funny. Because I just don't think Scottie feels like that. If you were in these locker rooms, especially with these type of teams, with a Phil Jackson team, you talk about Rodman, Jordan, Pippen, all these guys are crazy. Sort of. Look at the Metta World Peace, Kobe, Andrew Bynum. These are the people Phil Jackson was coaching, right? And Phil Jackson has some thick skin. You know what I'm saying? And I missed those times, so I can't. I personally just thought it was funny. I was busting out laughing, and I don't think anybody else is gonna laugh. Now those accusations, it was a little bit over the edge. I did feel like I don't feel like Phil's a racist. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like Phil's a racist. I'm like, but I don't want to get in between those two guys. Those are my favorite. I mean, I love the Bulls. I wore 23 for Michael Jordan, 91 when I got suspended. I was wearing Scottie Pippen's number next year. But then, by that time, I was just kind of discombobulated. But I love those guys, so it's kind of disappointing. But I think maybe they should talk, and MJ and those guys. It's kind of sad. I didn't know Scottie and Michael wasn't, didn't have a good relationship, and that's kind of sad. That reminds me of, when Mobb Deep broke up. I'm like, you guys need to figure it out because we loved you guys growing up.
That's an excellent comparison. So when you were playing for Phil, you never heard him say anything that was racist or felt like, he was racist at all from your interactions with him?
Phil's not racist, but Phil's not from the hood. You know what I'm saying? But listen, Phil's not from the hood, but Phil is a hippie. You know what I'm saying? And Phil, he's been around the game. He's been coaching black players for a long time, but he probably sometimes try and be like us, but some things rub off. You know, I mean, I've heard him say things that was like, oh, that's. I mean, I heard him say things where, yeah, Phil, you're not that hip, buddy.
Okay.
But, you know, I don't think Phil is racist. You know, I definitely, I don't think Phil is racist, and you know, I don't want to come down on Scottie. You know, I don't know Scottie, and you know, I don't think Phil's racist at all.
So, in terms of this NBA Finals, do you think that either the Bucks or the Hawks can beat the Suns, or do you think the Suns are they're going to be crown the champion in a couple of weeks?
Chris Paul is really special. You know, I think Chris had a tough job over his career because he's so good. People just expected him to get to the finals by himself. I mean, he hasn't had as much help as a lot of other guys throughout his career. If you look at his teams.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he would have a power forward and undersized centers, you know, and sometimes no wings, no shooting guards to really take him over to the next level. You know, the interesting year was Houston. That was a good year for them. I thought Chris's career was over. I thought his career was done. I thought he would be retired in 2 years, and this guy is back. You know what I'm saying? So if he wins, I think everyone would be really proud because no one saw this coming. You know, and obviously a lot of injuries, but every finals that any team has won, when the Bulls beat Magic and those guys, Byron Scott was injured. When the Lakers lost to the Celtics in 2008, Andrew Bynum and Trevor Ariza was injured. When we beat the Lakers, Kendrick Perkins got injured, right? This is just basketball, you know, and things be happening. So if Chris Paul wins, you know, it would be incredible.
You're also part of a really cool clothing line called The Panda's Friend, and you can check out this gear, thepandasfriend.com, hats, tanks, sweatshirts, T-shirts. We spoke about it last time that you joined us here on the show a couple of weeks ago, but how's it going? Still going well with The Panda's Friend?
Yeah, it's going well, man. It's, you know, when we sell merchandise for The Panda's Friend, we pretty much support our local basketball teams. We have practices. You know, we train our guys. The brand is really a brand to bring awareness to mental health issues, but we also support basketball. So, you know, it's a real simple brand. I think it's cool. It's a fun brand to wear. So, you know, if anybody wants to support the brand, buy a shirt or buy a hat, you know, you'll see, you know, what we're doing. You can look on our Instagram at The Panda's Friend. You can see our basketball team. And you could also go to artestuniversity.org, and you'll see the stuff that we're doing from a philanthropic perspective. So, yeah, definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great gear. I highly encourage you to check out both those websites, thepandasfriend.com, where you can order all that stuff. Metta World Peace joining us this morning on the show, an NBA champion, an NBA All-Star, an NBA All-Defensive Player, but also the recipient of the Citizenship Award, the J. Walter Kennedy Citizenship Award as well, and many, many, many other bullet points on a wonderful career. Metta, it's always wonderful to catch up with you, man. Thanks so much for the time. It's always really fun to talk with you.
Absolutely, man. Thank you. Continue to enjoy the playoffs, and everybody have a good summer. Thank you.
Okay, you too. Metta World Peace joining us this morning here on the show.